I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us names. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Brian, and today is Monday, September 9th, 2024, and this is episode 769 of the Lots Project podcast, and it's titled Progress. I'll be chatting about getting through the sickness for a solid weekend of progress and a look ahead at the rest of September, along with a few other odds and ends. Good morning. Good morning. Let's check out the live chat, see who's hanging out, grab a cup of coffee, and we will be around for an hour or so. We'll see how it goes. Pip in early and says, so if progress means moving forward and regress means moving backwards, what does Congress stand for? There's so many good answers. How can I even pick? Good morning, Rewilder Life. She says, "Good morning, Brian. You and Corey's progress is inspiring." I'm glad that is the case for sure. Man, with the way August went, our progress feels like it is regress, for sure. But yeah, made a little headway this weekend, so we'll talk about that today. And Rewilder Life responds to Pip with a gang of baboons. Good morning, Food Forest Farms. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you. Canadian Farmstead got a sale ad, and Congress stands for getting screwed in place. Stands for getting screwed in place. Huh. Oh, yeah, sure. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Food Forest Farms, I got some Food Forest Farms FTO Blonde Espresso in the cup, and it is fantastic this morning. Monday morning coffee is always a good thing. Coffee out, I posted some pictures online this weekend. Coffee out at the cabin is fantastic. I didn't know that Food Forest Farms could taste better. I have it every morning. I switch through different blends and roasts, and look forward to my monthly C4 package every month. But man, sitting out on the porch out at Delinquent Scully at Tim's cabin, heating up the water over the Coleman Camp stove, making the French press outside, sitting and enjoying it, looking at nature. The weather was absolutely gorgeous this weekend, especially overnight. It got chilly. You wake up in the morning and you make that French press of coffee, and when the steam is just coming out of the cup and you sit there and you enjoy it, it just takes it to another level. So definitely check out foodforestfarms.com. Grab the discount code LOTS10, LOTS10 is a 10% one-time use coupon code there. There's always free shipping, tons of different coffee to pick from, and you could even pick from some blends that I've worked on and developed with Brian for the Lots Project. So check it out any day, every day. Go order yourself some today. Great price on a fantastic product, foodforestfarms.com. Good morning, Off-Grid Ping. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate you. It was good to finally see you after a while yesterday morning between sickness and works and in and out and schedules not lining up. It was nice to see you for a minute. We'll have to spend some time next time we're out on the weekend. We just we're figuring stuff out there with the dogs and all that stuff and trying to get stuff done. So Hunter, good morning. Good morning, you sexy beast. Woo! I can't wait till you head up here. There's going to be an interesting group of folks here for SRF for sure. And he says it's cold out. I think it's getting nice. Overnights, 40s, high 40s in the 50s ish. We got a little pop up of it's going to go back up into the high 80s, high 90s for a few days, but the overnights are going to stay down in the low 60s and 50s. So that's fantastic. Hunter says it's 63. Right now, I was actually checking the weather before. Let me see if it's still up on my phone. Right now we got it's loading. We got 50 right now. 50. And it feels great. Got the long sleeve t-shirt on. Didn't have to go with the hoodie, just the long sleeve t-shirt and a pair of shorts. It's about right. It's about right. Great for sleeping. And you get curled up in the blanket, and I think my favorite sleeping conditions is where I don't want to come out from under the blanket, but my head stays cold. I need a haircut. Sweat a little bit when it's warm. When my head's cold, I sleep fantastic, and then wrapped up in a blanket. So could sleep in a freezer probably. Good morning, Jim. Thanks for popping in. I imagine there's a message over here on Nostr. There it is, Nostr. Thanks for popping in over there too, Jim. Appreciate that. Hey, if you want to post on Nostr, you could have people join to check out the coffee chain. What's up, Quantum Atom over on the vertical feed? Appreciate you stopping in. I love the comment. It says best sleeping conditions are when the bills are paid and a hand on a woman's warm ass. Depends on why that ass is warm, I suppose. Rewilder Life says my favorite too. Love cold nights. Am I in menopause? Unless I've been in menopause since I was in my teens, I don't think so. I have definitely been a frigid temperature with a nice blanket wrapped up, and then I heat regulate by sticking feet out or an arm or something else, and then it'll get cold and I'll pull it back into the blanket. So if that's having menopause, I mean, I've always said I'm a lesbian, so I mean, I might as well have menopause. Oh, let's see. What do we have on the list for Monday? Thanks for stopping in. I hope everybody's weekend was fantastic. Mine was. I'm actually finally feeling better. I still got the cough. Don't worry. I'll still have the cough for a little bit this week, but definitely producing. Good morning, Cameron. Stalled hands shook. I probably murdered that, but I appreciate you. I appreciate you jumping in and commenting. Michael says, "Hello, am I a throat goat?" No, I apologize. I am not. I'm not wrong. I think you're supposed to type in onlyfans.com. Can you sub? Absolutely, you can sub. You can sub. You can throw super chats out. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. Nerdy Digger, what is going on? What is going on in the vertical feed chat? Good morning. Nerdy Digger wants to know if I've ever touched my poop. Not consciously, not on purpose. Anyway, expelling quite a bit of this sickness is finally coming out. Zebco Lane, I don't mind fishing. Well, we're taking we're taking comments in the vertical feed at the moment. Michael M wants to know how much for me to be your head doctor. I will be your personal life coach and head doctor one-on-one for $2,000 a week. $2,000 a week. That works for you. Mike's Homestead says $29 is $20. Cameron, you can sub. You can just hit the subscribe button and it's all good. Anyway, expelling all this sickness out is it's fantastic. It feels great. I've absolutely turned the corner on how I feel. I just have this residual shit that I'm getting rid of that built up over 2 weeks. Friday afternoon, actually, after I got groceries and I got back and we were waiting to go to the cabin, I started to feel like shit again, and I was like, "Are you serious? Is this shit coming back? Am I getting another round of Nerdy Digger?" Yeah, I did. I think I got COVID. I'm not sure. I never got tested. I just wrote it out, but it was like a 3-week adventure, for sure. Friday afternoon, I felt like shit again. Corey asked if I wanted to stay home. I said no. I want to get out in nature. I want to feel better. Struggled through loading out. We drove out. We loaded out to the cabin. Had a decent evening. I didn't feel horrible on Friday, but man, when I went to bed, I got the worst headache. I didn't take anything for it. I kind of wrote it out. Bless you, dear. I wrote it out, and I was like, am I getting sick again? I can't do it. Had already been over 2 weeks. I was like, I can't do any more of this shit. I need to get something done. And so I struggled through the night, had my cough, my head hurt like a bastard. We had some Advil, but it was buried down in a tote, and I didn't feel like waking up the whole cabin to go get it. Left, kind of struggled through it. We got a huge rainstorm on Friday night. I woke up Saturday and still kind of felt like crap. So I took a couple Advil and drank my coffee, and it absolutely knocked it out. It was like 45 minutes later, I felt great, and I felt fine since, other than like getting rid of it all. It's pretty thick stuff that expels, that I'm trying to get rid of out of my filters, out of my sinuses and my lungs, and all of that is coming hot and heavy now. But I feel fantastic. The brain fog is gone. It all cleared up. Rewilder says, "Oh, this crap is hung on." Combined with the fall allergy, trees are changing here. Temps are in the low 30s. My thing says pollen is super high today. So yeah, same here. Between the drought and all the trees dying and all the dried leaves falling off, yeah, the allergies on top of it. So Jim says gazoon height to Corey back in the back room. Do it jiggle. Third dust. Thanks for the comment. Good morning, John Palmer. How we doing? Good day to you. So anyway, I woke up on Friday or Saturday, took my Advil, had my coffee. Corey made me a fantastic breakfast. She's both days this weekend. She made me phenomenal breakfast. And I started to feel great. So got to work, got a bunch of stuff done on Saturday. Oh, before that, it's Monday morning. Do it jiggle. I get it. I read what you said. It just doesn't make sense there, Third Dust. It's Monday morning. I've been tracking weight. I've been consciously thinking about losing some weight. I haven't been super vigilant about it, especially being sick. I started my first weigh-in when I said, fuck it, I'm done. Not worrying about my weight. I'm going to start consciously thinking about trying to lose some weight. I didn't necessarily go on a diet plan or an exercise plan or anything like that. I'm going to start thinking about this. I know I'm going to start losing some weight, and I'll get motivated. I'll make some simple changes. I'll stop drinking soda. We'll try to walk the dogs some extra now that the temperature is coming down. Maybe I'll start doing some extra workouts, maybe out at Delinquent Scully in between projects. Maybe I'll run some hills or move some logs. Like, physically being out there and working is a workout. So maybe just spending another day out at Delinquent Scully will help. Not buying chips and crap food at the grocery store, at least for me. Not having it around works. Thinking about healthier choices. So not necessarily going full blown, let's change the diet and all that shit. Basically, let's acknowledge that I've gotten to a point that I don't want to be. What am I doing that's easily changeable? And then we'll add on as needed. I weighed in on August 6th. So it was a Tuesday, but close enough to a Monday. I weighed in on August 6th at 241 pounds. I'm 6'5", 241 pounds. I hide my weight well, but man, looking in the mirror, especially naked, I'm like, not real happy. Not real happy. So it was time to do something about it. So then it's been about 5 weeks. Like I said, in between there, I have had 2+ weeks of being sick, which kind of helped and hurt. So let me see. First week, let's see, that's a 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 weigh-ins that I've done every Monday. I missed a week in there somewhere when I was sick. I didn't. Canadian Farmstead says, "Am I having trouble seeing my weenus?" Got it. I can see both my weenuses and my other. I can see all 3 of my weenuses, no problem. So I started out. I lost like 3 pounds the first week, and then I think I missed 2 weeks, and I was down another 7 pounds. I don't really know which the timeline is, but when I was sick, the first week there were like several days I didn't eat at all. Just wasn't hungry, had no appetite. I lost some of my sense of taste during this whole thing. And so it's just been a diet change at the heart of this, and then being sick. Last week I was down to 228. So I was down like 12 pounds since I started. It was like 12 pounds ish I was down. And then this week, I actually started feeling better, and I purged a lot. Like I was playing catch up for sure. Corey and I went out, and I gorged at a 50s diner, had burgers and tater tots and a cookie. I was just extremely hungry for the week, which I don't mind. Like that's all right. Catching up with eating, because it was so off, and the stuff we were eating while we were sick was like soup. So even when I was eating, I wasn't really eating anything, and I really just needed to fill my stomach and get back on track. So going into this morning's weigh-in, I really wasn't that excited. And it showed. Like I gained like 3 pounds, just over 3 pounds this past week when I started eating again. But I was still kind of on the mend, so I wasn't able to do a whole lot of physical activity. It was just a shitty week. I really ate like shit. So all in all, for the first 5 weeks, I'm down. For the first month ish, I'm down 8.1 pounds. Which is nice. I finally, after the month here, I threw it out online on the show. And every Monday I'll weigh in, and I'll have to either make excuses for myself or be proud of myself, one or the other. So we'll see next Monday how we do. Down to 233.1 pounds. So goal weight, I have no idea what. I'd like to see 199 again. I'd like to see 199. I look really thin at 199. I would probably like to get to 199 and then put on a little muscle. That would be at 40. What am I? 46 years old. I think that would be a reasonable goal. So we'll see. My ideal weight, like this, Hunter says I weigh that and I'm a foot taller. Let me see. This weight app is absolutely insane. The weight app that I've been using, it says my ideal weight. Let's see my statistics. It says the normal weight for someone my size, 6'5", is 151 pounds to 205. So 152 to 205 pounds. At 100 and I don't know. I don't think I was being put on a scale when I hit 150 pounds. Like, I'm trying to picture myself at 150 pounds, 155 pounds. I'm trying to picture myself at 175 pounds, and I can't do it. So I don't know what these these body weight calculations that this thing does, but I'm not really looking at that. It's insane. I mean, I got like 9 pounds of cock hanging around with me, so I don't know. I'm not cutting that off to make weight for sure. Um, Off-grid Pink says 150. He says I'm 5'5" and a crackhead skinny at 150 pounds. Right, right. Wilder Light says my husband's 5'7" and 175. He's very muscular, no fat. I'm hoping like at 199, I would be like, all right, either I gotta put on a little cushion, or I gotta put on some bulk. Excuse me. Jim says at 6'3", he was 260 and went down to 178. I'm at around 185 now. I mean, that's kind of in that ballpark. 6'3", I got 2 inches ish on you, an inch on you. Yeah, 200. I'm solid at 200. So when I see that weight app and I go to the statistics thing and it's like you're obesely overweight, I'm like, really, I'm not. Really, I'm not obesely overweight. Brute Forest Farm says he's 6 foot, 165, and strong as ever, running a jackhammer all summer. Hunter says, yeah, your bones probably weigh like 150. Well, at least one of my bones does. Tim says I need 20 pounds of muscle. Come on up to Delinquent Scully. We'll work out together. This weekend, one of the things I did was clear some trail. I cleared a bunch of deadfall. And it was some of it was pretty big around. And as I'm cutting it with the saw, I'm looking at the chunks going, well, if I leave an extra foot on this one, it'll be extra heavy to pick up and move. It'll be a good workout. So this is my mindset as I'm out there working is, why don't I run up to our site to grab a tool? Why don't I run up the hill instead of walk up the hill? Why don't I take the long way around? Why don't I cut the lengths of logs an extra foot or two, because I'll have to struggle to move it. I might not be able to pick it up and move it. I'll have to flip it end to end. Working out there is something that I really enjoy. And it's actually something I've been contemplating, trying to figure out what shoes to buy. I have to buy a new pair of shoes. Chris Dixon had mentioned it when I got these cat boots, and I was talking about how heavy they were, and it's true. Like, I agreed with him when he said it. Like, I could tell they were $70 boots. They were work boots you're gonna buy as your first pair of boots when you get a job. I've been wearing the piss out of them out at Delinquent Scully. They're holding up. Like, they're not breaking down. They're not tearing. They're a decent boot, but they're not a hiking boot. First of all, they're too heavy. And they're not that comfortable. They're a $70 boot. And I'm coming out of buying work boots were a staple. Like, that was one of the things I spent money on when I was wearing them every day. I'm coming out of work boots that are $200, $250 and going to a $70 pair. I need to get something new. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to get as far as a good shoe, boot, cross trainer type of thing for working out on that property, for possibly doing some hill sprints, for moving logs, for weed eating, for hiking all around. And I think I've kind of landed on a tactical boot. I think I want to do a mid to high ankle tactical boot. And I think that will fit the bill for my general exercise, my exercise requirements. I'm not going to be running. Corey has gotten into back into running. She's doing like 5K ish, probably going to end up longer than that. 5Ks, things like that. I'm probably not going to run. So I think a tactical boot is designed for what I'm looking for. Let me catch this. All the confit egg yolk on buckwheat toast. I saw you Wilder Life posted some pictures of these eggs that she was having. Confit egg yolk, so fried, basically fried in fat, cooked in fat, not fried in fat. Cooked in over low heat in fat. And then she said they like spread like butter on buckwheat toast. I believe she said she used olive oil. And Rachel, I want to say it was, what'd you say, like 220 degrees, 240 degrees for 40 minutes, something like that. Just the egg yolks in the oven, submerged in olive oil. I'm guessing she'll put the recipe down here in the middle. Rewiler Life says, I want to gain 10 pounds of muscle and lose the same fat. I'm so much stronger than 5 years ago. Jim says carry 2 tires around just because. How about I just move wood around? Canadian Farmstead says he carries a spare tire around as well. Rewiler Life says hubby wears composite toe shoes. Yeah, composite toes up over steel toes 100%. I went to composite toes when I was a service tech, and it was night and day difference. Oh, he wears shoes. Interesting. Huh. Interesting. 220. Okay, so Rachel's cooking her eggs 220 for like 40 minutes, I think was the time. So you submerge the egg yolks in some sort of cooking fat oil and cook them for 40 minutes at 220. Yeah, so I got to get a new pair of shoes. These fucking cat boots, probably good. Ruala Life says she'll put the recipe in the Telegram group. All right, sounds good. I appreciate it. So if you wanna check out this egg yolk confit recipe, you're gonna have to join the Telegram group at t.me/lotschat. t.me/lotschat. Just type that into your browser, pop it up if you're not a Telegram person. Be one. So on the hunt for a new shoe, multi-purpose work boot / exercise / everyday wearing, and then I'll probably pick up a new pair of barefoot shoes for everything else when I'm not out in the woods, when I'm not cutting wood, when I'm not doing this, that, and the other thing. So that is the site that I'm, or the mission that I'm on there. Jim says I have not found a new duck egg source. I might have to get a duck. New York or Florida? I know where you are in both. I know what area you're in both. Maybe we can find you duck eggs. Maybe you can find you duck eggs in Florida. Lakeland? Anybody in the Lakeland area? Actually, I could put out a lot of feelers out there. I do know a lot of my parents' friends have moved down there into that area. You're welcome, Pip. You're welcome. Anyway, so Saturday, I got up and got rid of the headache, got the food in me, took some Advil, had a little medicine, and started working. I wanted to work on the water project a little bit that that Sean and I started working on. I got a video that I got to produce. I'm not sure how well it's going to turn out. It was kind of on the fly after I was done doing testing. But I realized a couple weeks ago that the majority of the weight that I was hauling up and down the hill when we would go out for a weekend was water. Was water bringing from home. We didn't have water access at the cabin. We had water access at Jamie's spring if we wanted, or the spring that runs through Jamie's property. We could have filled jugs there, but I still was going to have to carry it from the truck to the cabin. It was probably well over half the actual weight I was transporting every trip. Right now, my goal is to make that cabin as easy to use as possible. Not just for me, but for Tim, if Tim wants to, when Tim wants to come down and use it. If he wants to drive down, if he wants to fly down, whatever, if he wants to stay for a week, a month, 6 months is all he can stay without becoming a citizen. But making it as easy as possible. Making the loadout process as easy as possible, making it as comfortable as possible. And then eventually, if we have guests come and stay, having it easy to use for them and me if I'm going to help them with their stay. So I identified the heaviest thing I'm hauling up and down that hill is water and water jugs. Excuse me. We've been working on formulating a plan since we put the cabin there. There was a nice little creek, probably 100 feet. I want to say 100 feet from the cabin. I paced it out from anywhere, depending on which way I walked up the hill and how big my strides were, because it is pretty steep hill. About 100 feet, 75 to 100 feet. It was it's a slow moving creek, kind of coming out of a seep real close. We're working on developing the seep, getting a little more flow, and trying to figure out what we wanted to do. We were contemplating damming up a little depression that was there, trying to make a little pond as a water source. A couple other ideas back and forth. And Sean Mills came out last week, and I think I talked about it on Friday a little bit. We decided we were going to basically develop a sump in a spot with a filter bucket. Water filters into the bucket, goes through a pipe, goes down into the depression that's there already, and fills up a 55-gallon drum we kind of sunk down in so it's below the level. After that water is into the 55-gallon drum, if it's not used, it flows over the top and comes out of the 55-gallon drum back down into the creek, and away it goes down where it was going to go. We were just going to have like a 55-gallon reservoir to pump out of. Canadian Farmstead said that's how I deal with emotional issues. He just dams up a little depression. You dam it up and shove it down inside, man, and then every once in a while it just fucking explodes, and either you go scorched earth, or you got a bunch of apologizing to do when your dammed up depression bursts. So the first part of this, and Sean and I dug out a hole, and we you hurl a cart into the woods, shit like that. We dug a hole while Sean was out there. We sunk a bucket down in. We let it sit. It cleared up. We're like, okay, this is the start. At least we can get water access here. So this weekend, I wanted to take it a step further, and Food Forest Farm says fireworks and a good sorry. Yeah, pretty much every once in a while. So Tim had picked up a pump a long time ago, a little electric suction pump. So I decided that I could do a little testing. We could pump out of this sump that I had. I went down, I sunk the bucket in, I let it start to clear up. I let all the silt that I disturbed settle, and left the bucket sit there. I sunk it down so that the creek level's coming across and the lip of the bucket sat like right underneath it, maybe 2 inches. So the water was actually flowing over the top. The bucket was this way. It was filled with water. I was going to put the hose into the bucket and turn it on. It was going to suck out of the bucket and it's going to refill over the top. Depending on how fast the water pumped and how fast the water was running in the creek, would determine if the bucket would dry up or not. So whether it would pump down the water below the level of the bucket, and if the creek wasn't flowing fast enough, it would just continue to pump out of the bucket and slowly refill. My hope was that I turned the pump on and the water flowing in the creek was faster than the water coming out of the hose. That turned out to be the case, which was really cool. So I turned it on, had some issues with the hose, had a kink in the hose, couldn't get it to run, whatever. Finally got it all running. It was kicking out water at the top. Man, we didn't touch the bucket. I didn't do any really long testing because we weren't going to use it, and I didn't want to just pump it up there to dump it on the ground. We still need some more filters and things like that before we want to dive into using it. But it was pretty clear. I took a battery bank, a portable battery bank I had, down to the creek. I plugged the pump in. Away it went. We didn't drain the bucket. I only ran it for maybe the most, I want to say 6 minutes. We were getting 3 gallons a minute. So we were able to do about 20 gallons without emptying that 5-gallon bucket, which was exciting, which was really exciting. I wanted to do some longer testing, but that's going to come after workday, I think. So the proof of concept, what we have going on is a really solid idea. I think that John says that's more than 125,000 gallons a year. Yeah. Hunter says algae mitigation. What we're going to do, we have impregnated black plastic food grade totes. So what the end goal is, Hunter says need some copper. Maybe. Does that work for algae mitigation? There is no algae in the creek. Even where I opened up the canopy a little bit and the sunlight hits the water, we're not getting any algae there. I don't think it sits long enough. The end goal is to fill up totes at the cabin, 2 or 3 175 gallon totes, or 250, 275, 300 gallon. I don't remember how much they are. I think they're 300 gallon. 2 or 3 of those up at the cabin. And so the idea is we'll fill those up. That'll be the water we actually draw from the cabin. And as soon as we have those water stores, we're going to be able to have pressurized water there. Using a DC RV pump and a battery bank and a solar panel, we can pressurize that water. We can have a hot running water shower with a tankless water heater. We can have running water in a sink in the kitchen for doing dishes, both cold and hot. And that's what we're going to use the water for. We haven't nailed down the pumping method, whether it's going to be a manual plug in or turn the switch on for an electric pump, fill the totes as needed as we use it. Or if it's going to be something where we do a direct solar pump where the sun comes up, the water pumps up to the totes, we have a return overfill that goes back down to the creek, or into an aquaponics system or into whatever else we have. And it fills, it fills when the sun's out. No one's going to use 700 gallons of water or 500 gallons of water in a weekend. So then it gives it all the time in between cabin stays for that sun to hit the solar panel, for the pump to kick on, for the water to trickle up, to refill the totes. And as it fills, then it's going to keep recycling it and dumping it back down into the creek. So we're not far off from having running water at that cabin, which is phenomenal. Being able to have that water there saves so much hauling up and down the hill. We also can get a nice shower. We also can wash dishes without having to use gravity feed, and we'll have a sink to wash up. And yeah, it'll be fantastic. What else is going to come in there is a dedicated like 30-pound propane tank to run a propane water heater, and then also a camp stove for an outdoor kitchen. And at that point, we have electricity, we have cooking, we have water. What else do you need? Really? We have heat. Ish. We have insulation, and likely going to go with either cubic mini wood stove or a diesel heater or a buddy heater or something like that for this winter. At least this winter we probably won't have a wood stove in there unless Tim wants to order one. I'd install one. It'd take an afternoon. We'll see what he wants to do when he gets down here, but running water isn't far off. Running water, that'll be exciting. So more to come on that project. So I got the testing done on that. I made a little videos of that, and then I started working on some more clearing trails. Like I said earlier when I was talking about working out and how you can do it anywhere you are, I had a trail, a connecting trail that I'd been working on. I had kind of cut through it with a machete. I got to some areas that were some pretty heavy deadfall, like some decent, I would say 24 to 30 inch diameter trees had kind of fallen all across where I wanted to, perpendicular to where I wanted to run this trail through. And there was some scary stuff to get rid of. It was definitely stuff that I needed my gas saw for, my Husqvarna. I was gonna have to run that for a little while and then move all the chunks. Food Forest Farm says boss added his dad to the schedule Friday, then laid me and the other full-time kid off last night. That's a bummer, dude. I was reading that in your Telegram group. 2 weeks, is that a solid 2 weeks, or is that we'll let you know if we're bringing you back in 2 weeks? If it's 2 weeks off, I mean, you can deal with that. But if it's in 2 weeks we'll call you and let you know if you're coming back, that shit gets a little old real quick. So I went and I was kind of evaluating, I was evaluating how I wanted to take care of this pile of deadfall. So what I had going on was one tree had fallen perpendicular or parallel with the trail. Then I had another 2 trees fall perpendicular, and then a fourth tree about 6 foot up, and this one was probably 18 inches in diameter, about 6 foot up. It was like up on the hill next to the trail, and about 6 foot up it snapped off, but it was still hanging. So it basically looked like this, and I needed to cut off this part, and probably get rid of this part. So I kind of evaluated. I was feeling really good at this point, so I wanted to keep working. It had been a while since I had done any physical activity, so I used the machete. I cut out all the blackberries that were around it. I started moving the stuff, and a lot of this was like rotten, which makes it even scarier. It makes it a little lighter, but it makes it scarier. I was picking up. Some of the smaller stuff and moving it, the stuff on the ends, clearing what I could by hand before I fired up the saw. I got it kind of opened up to the bigger stuff, and I was evaluating how I wanted to do it without killing myself or injuring myself, which is always a good thing. So I fired up the saw. Basically the hanger that was there was on the ground, but I could still move this a little bit. So my plan was to cut this part a little at a time and let it drop down a little bit, to where I could come up and then cut off where it was hung up on the top safely. Bless you, Corey, from the audience. And so I started digging in. It was working as planned. I was taking small chunks off. The leaning part was dropping a little bit more. I was keeping an eye on making sure it wasn't pulling off the tree anymore, and it wasn't. It was like staying stuck. And I got it cut back far enough that it was kind of in the other deadfall, and it was laying there. I went up and the vertical, the trunk that it was still attached to in the ground, I was able to fell it to the side down the hill. Like I was able to cut my wedge out next to the tree and then climb up on the top side of the tree and let gravity do its thing. Dropped it down, and then I posted a little video of me climbing out on the limb, and cutting the end off and it dropping down into the trail. So that worked as it should. I was able to clear off all the other deadfall that was there and get through the trail. Now the trail only needs to be weed eated, and then that'll be making a loop and a cross cut from the nursery to Tim's cabin, a cross cut from Tim's cabin on the way up to our cabin, and now you can access Tim's in multiple routes. So that'll be cool. That's a really nice trail through the woods, and then it's right. It all comes together right at the point that it's like a 4-way intersection where it ends up leading to. So it was a good project to get done. It was a good workout. Like I said, I was leaving these chunks of logs longer so that I had to struggle to pick them up, struggle to kind of move them around. And I did that for. Why is my shit bouncing so much today? Fuck. Sorry, guys. At some points, my eyes just, I can't take the fucking bouncing of the screens anymore. I cannot wait to have a solid fucking floor and be able to mount the camera so the fucking screens don't bounce. Sorry. I didn't put my fucking helmet on before I had my rant. Bouncy. have to wear the fiery hat when I get all excited like that. Jim says, okay, Stoic boy, easy does it. I didn't read this. The dog's got new fucking bones this morning. Like huge cow calf bones. Not calf as in like the lower part of their leg. and they're just gnawing on them and walking around and plopping down and moving, and they're gonna throw up. They'll probably have diarrhea from the fucking flavorings on the goddamn cow bone. It's gonna be an interesting day, guys. Thank God I'm feeling better. And I haven't read my Stoic entry yet, Jim. That'll be after the show today. I had too much going on this morning. Jim says, happy dogs for a minute. Happy dogs, they'll have these bones for a couple months, but the beginning is rough because it has that flavoring shit on it, and they go to town and they go overboard on it. Corey actually will end up taking them away sometimes when they first get them, because they obsess and they won't slow down. And then once that flavoring stuff's off them, they just kind of take their time, and they'll gnaw on them in the morning when they get up, and then right before bed. But when all that new flavoring shit is on there, they can't let loose. And I don't know if it's flavoring or just leftover beef parts or what the fuck it is, but sometimes it upsets their tummy. Let me tell you. Jim said, "Could I soak them?" Why would I soak them? They love them. They absolutely fucking love them. I wouldn't take that away from them. I used to indulge in a lot of stuff that gave me the shits, and I loved it a lot, and I kept doing it. But bouncy in the bouncy camper house. Oh, so we got that trail cleared. That was exciting. And let me see what's on the list here. The rest of September. So we got 3 weeks. I think 3 weeks, 3 weekends and 4 weeks ish before Tim shows up. Then we have work days, and then we have SRF. Excuse me. If you're looking to come to SRF, you're looking to use digital passes, definitely scroll down in the video description, in the audio description. There's a link for SRF. It's an affiliate link. I get a little credit. From what I understand, digital passes are going to stay pretty affordable. I think they're $50. They're going to stay $50. And then also in-person tickets are worth every penny. I think they're going up to $100 or something like that. But I'm pretty sure the digital feed is staying at $50. I also get credit if you buy digital feeds. So if you're not coming and you want to see the speakers, Jack Spirko, Bear Independent, Kyle, the Backwoods Butcher, several other people, definitely think about picking up that digital pass. It is all at $50 for sure. $50. It's worth $100 travel expenses, lodging, and all that to go to the event. For $50 to watch the digital feed, it's that's a no-brainer. And I believe you get to watch replays and stuff like that, all for the $50. I could be wrong on the price, but I had a meeting with Nicole, and I believe $50 was where it's at. Good morning, Cormac. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate that. So the rest of September, I'm kind of prepping for that. I got a meeting with Tim today. I think we're going to lock down the activities that we want to try to get done during work days. It's interesting planning events to do projects when you don't know how many hands you're going to have. We can get a guess, we can poll people, we can talk to people, but sure as shit, more people are going to show up or less people are going to show up than you plan. So having materials, tools, and just straight up ideas of things that need to be done when people show up and say, well, what do you want us to do? And not overload it with stuff to where if not a lot of people show up, we're not struggling to complete anything. So that's an interesting balancing act that I didn't know that I was in for. I think I've come up with a solid list of items. I think if we had 100 people show up, we'd probably run out of stuff to do. But the reasonable expectation of 10 to 20 or less people for each day, whether they all come on one, if they're spread out over two, or whatever the total is, I think we'll be good. If nothing else, we can clear trail, or we can hang out and build community, and that's what it's actually all about. It's not about slave labor by any means. The goal is the community building, the time with like-minded people, learning skills from each other, and the many hands make light work is also nice. But last work day was absolutely fantastic. So much so that Tim wanted to do too. So that's what we're doing. So I have a lot of prep for that. I have a general prep on the site. I had a down weed eater for a while. Got that fixed right as I was getting sick. So yeah, there's definitely some trails to be weed eated. Thank God it didn't rain for like a month, and everything kind of died back with the drought. It didn't keep growing and growing and growing. But with the rain coming in, like I said, we had a huge rainstorm on Friday night. We got another one coming the end of this week. We're going to start getting more growth again. So time to get ahead of it, get trails done, get walkable areas done, get places marked out where we're going to do some work. Hey, NFS, how we doing? Thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. Hit that like, man, and share it out or whatever. Appreciate you. So doing prep for that, getting supplies in for the projects. That's what my September is going to look like, and then making progress on our site. With the fact that I had been sick, with the fact that I lost 2 weeks of hey Michael M, how's it going? Lost 2 weeks from the lightning strike, lost 2 to 3 weeks from being sick. And I still have responsibilities to get stuff done for Tim, and then my stuff comes after that. So that kind of took a back seat. So getting back up there and spending full days, spending weekend days up working on our site, getting our cabin prep, and then eventually getting shit put up so we can get on site out there, and that opens up so much stuff. Being out there. Oh, and internet. That's September's project too. Getting solid internet, clearing a path, and getting getting a clear signal with Starlink, so it doesn't go in and out. So I can do lives. Corey can work. Once that happens, we can stay out there much more. Being out there this weekend and not being sick and just walking out the door and doing multiple projects at different locations on the property, coming back, grabbing a bite to eat or a drink of water, or hanging out with Corey, whatever, for a little bit, and then going out and doing more is ideal for me. Not traveling a half an hour to get there, working, having to travel back to the camper. We're excited to get to a point where we could go out for a week and come back and do camper chores. That put a damper on. Michael M says, do you mind if I beat my meat off to you right now? Go ahead, man. If a big hairy guy with fucked up teeth talking about working out in the woods gets you off, I mean, who am I to limit your pleasure at this time of day by saying no? You're not hurting anybody unless you are into that and you hurt yourself while you do it. But I am more than happy to be your muse. One thing that I haven't talked about recently was the snails, and that's because we got kind of sidetracked. I was in the middle of setting up the snail live feed with a Raspberry Pi, some cameras. It was going to be a 24/7 feed. Lightning struck. Yeah, Michael, for a super chat, I'll take a request. Otherwise, you need to just sit in the corner quietly and take care of yourself. Did you need me to count down for you? For $10, I'll give you a countdown. I was working on the snail feed. I was making progress on it. I was getting it set up. Then we had our lightning strike, which just fucked everything. And then after we started going out to the cabin, and I realized I have to take the internet. I don't have to. We take the internet with us on the weekend. So the snail feed was going to go offline because I'm not transporting that back and forth. I refuse to transport the snails back and forth. So they're kind of on hold. I'm still working. I'm still trying to figure out how to do it. Maybe Monday through Friday, live feed. And then once we move out completely and bring them with us, then it'll go on a 24/7. But the snails are doing well. The snails are doing well. We haven't done any shorts with them. It kind of fell to the wayside with everything we had going on. But they're still doing well. Corey has them right next to her workstation, and checks on them constantly during the day, and can tell you quite a bit about them and their habits and their interactions. So when we can do a 24/7 feed, when it makes sense and we get it all set up, I have to figure out the functionality of starting and stopping it with the internet coming and going. I'm not that familiar with the operating system that I was going to run it with on the Raspberry. So more to come on the snails. They're pretty cool to watch, though, for sure. They give Corey hours and hours of entertainment during her workday. So that is update on that front. Yeah, and the focus is just getting that cabin as easy to use as possible. Jim says, how is the snail reproduction? It's often we found eggs every time we clean the tank. We started disposing of the eggs just because we don't have room to run production here. But Corey, we've hatched a bunch. We have them in their own tote, and they're growing big enough that she's transferred, I think she said 4 or 5 from the grow out tank into the main adult tank. So slow. It's a long cycle. It's a long cycle for sure. And we don't know if that production model, we're not sure what we want to do with it. But definitely keeping a tank as pets for sure. And which lends well to the live feed of the snails. So the monetization side of it, I'm not sure whether that's just going to be through the live feed or if we're going to end up wanting to do production. Not sure yet. We'll see. Jim says snails are slow, go figure. To grow. I think they're going to be a year. I think there'll be a year to grow out size. I think we read, I think, at 1.2 years, a year to 2 years before they're full size. So it's a long cycle. And to make it worth it, we'll need a lot of tanks. And I don't know. We'll have to. It's a big experiment. And the best part about it is if we don't want to do it anymore, we throw them outside. That's about it on that. So making the cabin is easy as possible. There's some trees to take out along the path to get up to the cabin. We have a bridge that we built at last workday that I have to kind of retrofit for the cart. That is big. Hunter says the growth rings. What's the rate for a snail shell? I don't know, man. The shell is part of the snail. They're born with them. It grows with their body. So I have to retrofit. The bridge we have to make it easier to use the cart on. That's one of the big sticking points of one of the hassles of load out to and from the cabin is using the cart and getting over the bridge. I have an idea to implement that. Hopefully that is taken care of this week, and we can test it out when we come out next weekend, or when we go out next weekend with the new ramp system. Other than that, I got bit to hell this weekend for sure. There was I don't know if it was Friday night, if it was Thursday when I was out with Sean, Friday night or Saturday, but got into the chiggers or the ticks or something, and my arms are literally covered with bites, and my legs, and they itch like crazy. So might be a Benadryl couple days while they subside. Didn't use bug spray at all this weekend. Was so excited to get out there and feel good and be able to get into the woods and do some work that I totally blew off throwing bug spray on or anything. And yeah. Jim says, what tools, etc., would you want workers to bring for a work day? That will be determined probably later today when I meet with Tim on what projects are a go. I have several on a list. It really depends on budget constraints, how much we're putting into this. So that's a to be determined. Shovels and picks and shit like that are always helpful. We'll be kind of, I have to talk to Carrie, I have to talk to some other people, but possibly smoothing some trails, taking some high spots, putting them in low spots, digging some stumps out. That's going to be kind of stuff that is overflow work. If anybody wants to work on stuff by themselves, they don't want to participate in a project, whether it's the Vortex tea brewer or the plugging mushrooms or building a cabin or working on the water system. Trail grooming and trail smoothing is definitely an option. So any tools like that, shovels, picks, rakes, whatever. As far as the dam project, I think we have all the tools we'll need. Maybe a couple more post hole diggers, or shovels, waders. The project, the mushroom log project will have everything on site. Yeah, I don't know. I'll definitely keep it in mind. I'll definitely put out a list in the Telegram group. Food Forest Farm says bring a quad runner and rip up some trail. Yeah, no. The whole idea of the property is that it's non-motorized access. Everything's been hand done, hand carried in. It's not to bring a four-wheeler around and tear up trails at all. Jim says, what's the bare minimum water for the day? We'll hopefully have a bunch of water on site, but it's always, I mean, this is kind of a prepper group. So, man, be prepared. You're going into the woods in Tennessee. I would wear boots of some sort. I would bring gloves, leather gloves. You're going to work out in the woods for the day. I don't know. Is that something that in this community, in this crowd, a basic necessity list for to work in the woods for the day is something that people don't know? I could do a whole show on it probably, but I need to know what we're doing, I guess. Jim's just trying to get people thinking. We have camping available on site if people want to camp. So there's that. Bring your shit to set up and camp if you want in the woods. I don't know. Anyway, guys, we're 10 after here. Let's wrap it up. Rewiler Life says I have a whole kit. Yeah, I basically have my stuff I take back and forth. We have stuff we left at the cabin. I'd have to think about it, but yeah, we'll see. depends on what the weather is going to be like and all sorts of shit. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said today, we'll probably have a finalized list of projects today, and be able to plan more on that. Thanks for the stimulating questions, Jim. Now I'm all stimulated and I gotta go sign off. Other than that, making a bunch of videos this week. Got to get back to that. With all the downtime, electronics and sickness, videos have suffered. So that's my focus today, along with getting some computer work done and things like that. So yeah, tomorrow we'll circle back, probably talk about some news, talk about some things. If there's anything you guys want to talk about, you're more than welcome to email me at info@thelotsproject.com, topic list, or you can shoot them out in the Telegram group. I'm just gonna go forward. I've been contemplating just making it a general show, a general title, general thumbnails, things like that, and see how it goes on a day-to-day basis. So having a running list of topics that I can just pull from and talk to might be the way this is going to roll. We'll figure it out. It's fluid for sure. Rewild or Rachel, Jim says, Rachel, I'm curious what's in your kit, and says we have one in each truck, one at the camper, one small kit I carry. Which we can continue this discussion in the Telegram group, guys, and I can put a show together about first aid, work kits, truck kits, things like that. That wouldn't be a bad show. Let's continue that conversation over in the Telegram group at t.me/lotschat. t.me/lotschat. We'll get some notes, and eventually we'll do a show on it, on being prepared to go out in the woods. Sounds good. Other than that, guys, it's Monday. Have an awesome Monday. Get rolling on the week. Hope everybody's feeling better. If you get this COVID shit or whatever it is that I had, good luck. I got friends that followed the COVID protocol, horse paste and vitamins and blah, blah, blah. And man, they were sick just as long as I was. So I don't know. Other than that, make it an awesome day. Get a lot done or not, depending on what your goals are. And we'll catch up with you again in the morning.
At the end of this longest night.